Hello everyone, I've decided that I'll discuss all the sociology optional PYQs starting from 2011 to 2025, like all the previous 15 years. We'll firstly start with 2013. See the question number 1. We are asked to write short notes of 10 marks each on the following. The first question is sociology emerged in Europe and flourished to begin with on a social reformist orientation in USA. Emergence in Europe. See, Europe, as we know, was having a lot of socio-political economic changes like Industrial Revolution, like French Revolution. You must remember one line which was said during the French Revolution, that when France sneezes, the entire Europe catches cold. Then the Renaissance, after the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages term was coined by someone known as Fedrarch. See, when I'll be discussing these PYQs, I'll be using internet also simultaneously. So it'll be a big mix of my knowledge and what is available on the internet to make the content more rich. See, so of course it began in Europe, but the social reformist orientation happened in the USA. So why it began in Europe? The reason is the social upheaval. So we can write a lot about social upheaval which was happening in Europe, the Dark Ages. Dark Ages happened because the Roman Empire collapsed. After that, we all know the story. It relates a lot to world history in this case. Then in late 18th century, Enlightenment period began. In 1770s, you can say Enlightenment period began. Then rational thought emerged. We can mention the role of a lot of philosophers like Montesquieu, like Rousseau, and many others. There was one more philosophical thinker, Montesquieu, Rousseau, and this. Even Karl Marx was a philosophical thinker during those times. Montesquieu, Rousseau, and I'm unable to recall the third name. Anyways, so these were the thinkers. Apart from that, French Revolution was there, which began the era of democracy. And in sociology, with respect to sociology, Max Weber was there, his Calvinism was there. We can mention that. Another thinker I was trying to recall was Voltaire. Max Weber's Calvinism was there. Max Weber wrote a lot about Protestant ethics. All of that can be mentioned. But now we come on the reformist formation. Why reformist formation happened in USA? This is because sociology, of course, see, USA was a place where scientific thought was respected a lot. So sociology also made its way from Europe to the US, just the way psychology did. Alright, so here many issues of sociological importance like racial issues are very important. There's a great connection between anthropology and sociology. So all the racial issues and all the workers' exploitation, class struggle was being studied in USA. So Europe was more focused on creating broad sociological theories, but American sociologists attempted to create workable answers to particular issues like child labor. Because factories were not established in Europe, they were actually more, you can say, with more scientific thought. They were adopted in the country like USA, which was focused on capitalism. The good thing about Europe, you cannot say the good thing, but a distinctive feature of Europe kind of sociology was mercantilism when we related to economics. But what was happening in USA was hardcore industrialization, which was leading to capitalism. Then after mercantilism also, the schools of thought changed. From mercantilism, comparative advantage emerged, absolute advantage emerged. So this was Smithsonian economics. Then we moved towards the economics of other you can say, thinkers, many other thinkers came Adam Smith के बाद, who proposed, like, who proposed that it is not just one country cannot just benefit by putting its resources into another, by putting all its resources into maximizing its exports. Rather, if it imports certain essential things which is comparative advantage, that will also benefit that particular country. So all of this was taking place. So sociology indeed emerged as a mature discipline in USA, but it began in Europe. The second question is to compare and contrast sociology with anthropology. So sociology, anthropology, as we know, are sister disciplines. They are very related to each other. In fact, social anthropology, when emerged, it was an outcome of sociological understanding, and sociology was also an outcome of human relations, which is studied in anthropology. Both are very much interrelated. Alright. So, see, when we are here to compare and contrast, we will underline all the distinctive features and all the similarities, everything. We can firstly start from how the discipline evolved. Like, sociology emerged from initially from positivist scientific thought, wherein the social physics was coined by one of the great sociological thinkers, Auguste Comte. Then anthropology, we can talk about, emerged from primitive societies in non-Western countries, which was starting to be studied. And it is not just that the non-Western societies only study anthropology. Even the Western societies study even the Western societies study the racial differences. Anthropology indeed investigates the physical aspects of evolution and biology. Sociology is primarily concerned with the cultural issues and social issues. So certain social issues will be studied in sociology. Anthropology will study the cultural issues. Sociologists rely on statistics and questionnaire, but on the other hand, social anthropologists indeed study the community by living with them. So their research is more qualitative. Sociology can still be a bit quantitative, though it is preferred that sociological research is also qualitative, like what the M.N. Srinivas was doing while he studied the caste, and it is more qualitative. So this is it. Critically examine the positivist approach in sociological studies. Now see, the empiricism and the positivist approach has to be critically examined. In this case, we will, also make the criticisms along with appreciating the positivist approach. When we talk about the positivism, it implies that you kind of analyze the variables, just like any scientific normative science. Analysis of variables is what is included in the positivistic approach. Deep analysis of variables. Let us take an example. Example you can give of Durkheim, when he took out the prison data to study the concept of suicide. This is one of the most interesting examples. Experimentation is used in the positivistic approach, which is very good. It is, of course, using a lot of surveys and data, for example, the census of India. But still, this is very essential to the field of sociology. But however, there are key criticisms also of this approach. Like, when you will use census data, are you being very culturally sensitive? Are you being very much, you can say, aligned to the needs of the society, to the welfare needs of the society? You are using the data, but you are not using the core essence of what the society needs, and that can only be analyzed with interviews. Of course, the Indian census is the largest such exercise and one of the most qualitative exercise as well. We cannot fail to appreciate this particular exercise because it is conducted in such a large manner with a variety of applications on different fields and different fronts, that this exercise has to be appreciated to the lot of extent. It helps our decision makers make the right decision as per the favorable data, as per the unbiased and favorable data. If we want to uplift the minorities, we'll use the data. If we want to target our welfare scheme towards certain section, we'll use the data. So census data is very important. But what if some interviews are also included? What if more, you can say, qualitative methods are included? Then we will be able to enrich our data. So that is how positivist approach is not all, but it is important. Positivist approach is also very rigid. It is also a bit complex. Not all thinkers will like the positivistic approach. Some thinkers will like the field study, will like the survey, will like living with the communities to see how they function. Right? Especially when it comes to tribals. They can only be understood when you try to live with them. What happened in Andaman and Nicobar? There was one of the particular island, we tried to study that island by coming in close contact with the tribals, but the tribals did not like it. So we maintained a very, you can say, crucial distance between them and between us. One reason why I'm also recording this video is I haven't spoken for the past lot of days. So when I'll speak along with the video, I'll clear all the, you can say, grammatical, not just grammatical, but also my mind will get decluttered when I'll speak in a particular video. So see, examine science and sociology as agents of social change. Sabko I'll remove. Examine science and sociology as agents of social change. Science and technology as agents of social change. Now here we will, social transformation which takes place is the social change which is indeed happening because of science and tech. Today we are just relying on smart watches, but when nanotechnology will come, our smart watches will become smarter. They will become more usable. We cannot write this particular example in this case because social change is not happening because of nanotechnology per se, but social changes are happening by a lot of technologies like AI, biotech, nanotech. You combine all of them and you analyze their repercussions. The entire sociology evolves when research and development happens. You connect it to economics, you analyze the Romer model, one of the most beautiful model of economics, which talks about social change. See, social change is gradual transformation in social institutions, social structure and social behavior. It is what? Gradual transformation. Social change is gradual, but now you see the science and technology, the way it is evolving, it is not gradual. It is, you can say, evolving in leaps and bounds. So what if you talk about digital divide? Many people still cannot access UPI. Many people still do not know that a thing like biometrics exists. So how will they be able to take advantage of the welfare schemes of the government? So digital divide has happened. So social change is taking place, but some people are not able to benefit because of the social change which is brought about by science and technological innovation, scientific and technological innovations. So you can say here that it is important indeed. Technological advancements are significantly important, but there has to be progress and inclusivity, which has to go together, so that they become positive agents of social change and they do not create what divides. We have to avoid a divisive society and we have to make a very inclusive society wherein everyone can benefit from the process of scientific and technological changes. Alright, where everyone can benefit from the process of automation. At one point of time, we can refer to historical understanding. Industrial revolution when the automation happened, the labor was also getting alienated. Alienation हुआ ना labor का. Who rose up to the demands of the labor? Karl Marx. What did Karl Marx say? He said, workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. So that is what he said. So indeed, technology alienates man to a lot of extent, but technology can also integrate the society, can also diminish the differences. can also remove, or you can say can also overcome the Islamophobia which is happening. So contemporarily, and you can say historically, science and technology as it has evolved. You take the very basic example, agriculture, evolution of agriculture. It brought the wandering man who used to rely on pastoralism, who was who used to rely on pastures of land into a settled way of life. So indeed it leads to social changes, and we shall be appreciative of this fact. See now another question. Analyze the contemporary trends in family with examples. क्या contemporary trends है family में with examples? See, such a beautiful question. The good part about sociology is you can apply anything, not anything anywhere, but you can apply your all sorts of knowledge. If you are a creative person, you can apply your creative knowledge. If you are a person who tries to observe, you can apply your observational knowledge. So this is a very basic question. Even if you ask a 10-year-old, he or she will be able to tell you the contemporary trends in family with examples, how the family system is evolving. But indeed in this particular paper you have to be very scientific. You have to mention all the theories regarding the family structure. You will start with one basic thing, that family is what? A social unit. You know, there was this thinker Emile Durkheim used to call the family system, marriage, all of these are social facts. So family is not just a social unit but also a social fact. Alright, it is characterized by shared household, by sexual reproduction, where sexual relationship is maintained, which is socially acceptable, and biological offspring is there. And then a concept of parenting comes into being, which is also a very important concept. You can mention that there are types of parenting. There's not one single type of parenting. There are types of parenting. The parenting can be authoritative. The parenting can be pessimistic sort of parenting, which is neglectful parenting. The parenting can be authoritarian parenting. The parenting can be ignorant parenting. So many types of parenting are there. You can mention many more types. So this is of sociological importance. Now family is changing. I also remember I was born in a joint family. When I was born, there were 10 people in my household. It was a joint family. I had dada, dadi, tau, tai, brother. I had another. I had my cousins. I had my parents. I had so many people in my household, small children, their cousins, my father's cousins. All of them used to live together in a very big house. A very big house composed of so many rooms. A very big house composed of a very big dining table. Everyone used to sit together when I was young. But then I saw that my tautai separated from the family. They went away. Then I saw another group of people separated from my family and went away. Then when I was in my 7th standard, I was only left with my dada, dadi, mama, papa and me, and then my younger brother was born. So now this was only a family of 6 people. Then unfortunately dada passed away. Then unfortunately dadi passed away. Now our family is only of 4 people. Now the same family, everyone took away this property. Then we were forced to live in another house. My parents struggled a lot to build that house. Initially we lived on rent. Then after time progressed, we made a lot of contributions to the society with the help of economic activities. We did good deeds and we were able to live a settled life wherein settled income was there. We did not live on loans. But if these people would not have separated in spite of their personal interests, if these people would have continued to live together, this household would have prospered. Now imagine this same family of mine. In the time of industrial revolution, the laborers in search of better jobs and better opportunities are going at different places. They are migrating at different places. The family as a unit is getting separated. They are missing out on love. And what is happening? They are getting alienated. They are being governed by a concept called clock time. There's nothing left in their life in the form of entertainment. All the sources of entertainment which used to be natural have become artificial. Family time which used to release dopamine is replaced by mobile phones which are replacing dopamine. During Mark's time, you think about other forms of entertainment. Alright, you think about literature. They used to read literature. So all of that is happening, but trends in family are changing. We are moving from a joint family system to a nuclear family system. So all children, love a joint family system wherein they are raised by a lot of family members. But unfortunately, they have to raise themselves in a nuclear family system where both the parents are working, where they have to take care of the old age people like Dada Dadi, and where they have to take care of themselves. So I still remember when I was like in 8th standard, I used to take care of the Dadi. I used to take care of myself because my parents used to go to work from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So a lot of responsibilities come over children. Of course, this might be good for children because they are becoming independent, but they are also losing on their childhood values. They are unable to explore and they are busy with more responsibilities. Now in this case, if the parenting is not good, if the children come in a wrong company, they can indeed suffer. And if the youth of the country suffers, if the demographic dividend of the country suffers, this is bad for the country. So then this question becomes more important, that the trends in family are changing. You have to explain it along with the examples. Now one example you can give is of UCC, Uniform Civil Code. Now love marriages are becoming more and more acceptable. Live-in relationships are coming into being in society. Trends are changing today. Women's situation has improved due to legal issues. Many legal issues happened. One legal issue, Kargil War veterans. In the Kargil War, the government gave compensation to the wives. But what happened? The family married the wife to the brother-in-law. And disaster happened. Social welfare programs were not able to reach the women who deserved them, and the women suffered more. You can analyze the role of patriarchy, which has now become a transitioning institution. Alright, aging populations, you can say aging populations are suffering, so there's a need for government to spend on the silver dividend. सिर्फ डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड ही नहीं, अब सिल्वर डिविडेंड पे भी स्पेंड करना पड़ेगा. सी दिस इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन एंड अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग सब्जेक्ट. You can mention a lot of things. Countries in Netherlands, you can mention 80% of the individuals are aged between 18 to 45, so it is witnessing a transitioning trend in family system. So family, which used to be a unit of many people, has become a household. A unit of some people who are struggling, or you cannot say struggling, but managing their life. Simple, है ना? Talcott Parsons, who was a structural functionalist thinker, said a lot about family system. Talcott Parsons, who was a structural functionalist system, said a lot about the family system. He said that the family is very important, and Karl Marx said that labor alienation is happening because the family system and family values are being lost. In a farm, when family used to be there, everyone used to collaborate and cooperate for profit, for shared profit, shared responsibilities. But now what is happening? Now the farm is being managed by separate households, and even the farm is not being managed. The laborers have migrated, so the sense of life and liveliness in life is missing. You can give other examples of metropolitan cities. Levels of acceptance are increasing about different social and biological relationships. Like you can talk about LGBTQ+. So contemporary trends in family are changing. But then it is also very important to maintain a traditional family system, a household headed by male and a female together, wherein they cooperate and collaborate on shared responsibilities and have their, you can say, relatives like the brother, sister, mother, father, children, all of them cooperate together, so it becomes a family. One good quote I remember in this case is one of the good quotes which I said when I was a youngster. I used to do debating, so we were asked to talk about family. So I said that family is where Life starts and love never ends. Family is a place where life starts and love never ends. Now we move on to the second question, 20, 20, 10 marks respectively. See, analyze the limitations of quantitative methods in social research. See, here you were asked to critically examine the positivistic approach in sociological studies. Now you are asked to 1 and 5 are compulsory. Alright, 3 have to be attempted. We'll attempt all of them, but this and this is compulsory. क्वांटिटेटिव मेथड्स उनकी लिमिटेशंस बतानी है, मतलब सिर्फ क्वालिटेटिव मेथड्स को की तारीफ करनी है ना. See, quantitative methods, statistical methods are very good, but qualitative methods are better because environment is very important in sociological research. What is very important? Environment. Bhavika, if you happen to watch this video, I want you to put something in the comment section if you can. Alright. So see, environment is very important in this case. See, quantitative studies are very limited. Limited options of responses, limited number of people you interview. Qualitative methods are not limited. They are non-empirical. So they depict the social reality. Qualitative methods do what? Qualitative methods depict the social reality in a much more broader manner. Qualitative methods are very much suitable for research in which we face limitations when it comes to quantitative methods. And what are such researches wherein the limitations are there with respect to quantitative methods? They can be researches with respect to social institutions. When you analyze about the education system in India, NEP has come. Now it is not just because of the quantitative data that we have introduced the policy of NEP. We used a lot of qualitative data. We used surveys. We conducted interviews, questionnaires. For example, you have to analyze about the life of a particular section of society. You can say street vendors. Street vendors ke liye there is a scheme. Street vendors, there is a particular scheme. I'm forgetting the name. So this scheme, now you cannot just rely on quantitative data that street vendors are here, they sell this, they own this much, they earn this much, they rely on these resources. This is a very limited thing. Alright, you have to rely on qualitative methods like interviews. Like you may analyze their interests, you may try to analyze some inexhaustive knowledge which can be in form of their goals, their objectives of life. What do they yearn to do? Why do they live such a lifestyle wherein they are not producing a particular quantity but selling them, and are they satisfied with the level of profit they are earning? So this is what I'm telling on the basis of my knowledge. I do not know exactly what has to be mentioned in the limitations, like point wise. I'm just discussing on the basis of my knowledge because I find the subject to be very interesting. I find this to be very related to every individual. That is why I'm discussing this paper. Alright, Bhavika, I asked because I wanted, if you can do anything for me, you write something in the comment section, please. Alright, see. Now you can also write about positivist and non-positivist thinkers. Non-positivists argue that social realities, what? It is, you can say, value-based. It is subjective. Subjectivity is very much. There are methods also in sociological study. One method is triangulation. Alright, so all these methods you learn about before going for the examination. Critically examine the functionalist tradition in sociology. So this is also a very good question. Functionalism is what? See, there are two schools of thought, structuralism and functionalism. Functionalism and structuralism. Structuralism is when you believe in the structure. Functionalism is when you believe in different functions of what is happening in the society. For example, marriage. Marriage has a function. Marriage has a function of production of a progeny. Progeny has a function of contributing to the economic, economic activities which are happening in the country. Economic activities have a contribution to the national agenda. National agenda has a contribution to the democracy. Democracy contributes to the family system and the marriage system. It avoids what? Anarchy. है, कुछ भी बोल रही हूँ मैं, पर ये सब रिलेटेड है और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो फंक्शनलिस्ट क्या करेगा? वो बोलेगा मैरिज इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. ऑन द अदर हैंड एक थिंकर होगा जैसे कार्ल मार्क्स, ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट थिंकर है, ये क्या बोलेगा? मैरिज इज नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. नो, class is not important, industry is not important, capitalism is not important, no, nothing has a functional, it's a conflict. So all these conflict thinkers, like for example LGBTQ community rights, they say what? Marriage is not an important social institution. You can say man can marry a man, a women can marry a woman. What will happen in this case? Disorder will happen. Social system will not able to function. Of course they have their legitimate rights. What they say might be correct, but when we analyze it from the perspective of the society and the function of a society, it becomes wrong. The society will become vulnerable when such relationships will increase. Why? Because there are this division of labor within the family also. Emile Durkheim says what? That the family is also composed of division of labor. Of course, what Emile Durkheim says is very, you can say, not modern. It might be relevant in the ancient times that the man hunts and the women cooks. But today it is not relevant. But still, a social system must be there for the children. A social system must be there for the nation, for the continuity. Because when you question the functions of these particular institutions and you say they are wrong, you move towards a decreasing growth rate. The birth rate will decrease. The total fertility rate will decrease. The nation is going to suffer. Alright. So, functionalist thinkers, like the number one functionalist thinker was your Durkheim, Emile Durkheim. What did Emile Durkheim say? Everything has a function. Marriage has a function. Family has a function. Your industry has a function. Everything functions in a right manner. You are not getting entertained by the function, so you find another modes of entertainment, but do not revolt. What Marx will say? Always look for revolutions. All the feminist thinkers will believe in Karl Marx. They will do the revolution so that they can get their share in the society. And I'm not saying it is right or it is wrong. I am saying that this is what these are what the thinkers believe, and these are the traditions which have been happening. So one group of thought will say what is happening is right, another group will rise and say no, something better can happen. This group of thought, now related to ancient history, try to relate things. This group of thought is of the ones who say everything happening is right. Dharma Sabha, sati is happening, sati is right. Women will go in heaven along with the husband. Women will be born, she will go in heaven along with the husband. Then another group of thinker is rising, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He says what? Women will not go into heaven along with the husband. This is a very unethical and a very immoral practice which is happening. Then Brahmo Samaj will rise. Dharma Sabha will counter. Again, there will be disagreement between the two forces, and the force which is right is going to rule. Another force is going to counter. All this is dialectism. You say one thing, another thing is going to counter that particular thing. So, where were we? Examine the functionalist tradition in sociology. Functionalist tradition is very important for sociology because it sustains sociology as a very subjective and a very applicable discipline. Applicable to all the other disciplines. Sociology relates to all disciplines. You cannot call it a mother of all social sciences, but it is actually a sister discipline to most of the social sciences because it is adding on to a lot of things. Alright, sociology adds on to other disciplines. See, functionalism sees social order as a product of shared values and norms that guide the behavior. So, functionalism will always value what? Social order. Conflict theory will also always oppose the social order. Functionalism will value the social institutions, functional prerequisites. Functionalism will view the society in an idealist manner, in a harmonious manner, in an orderly, very orderly manner. Alright? But functionalists have been challenged because they cannot explain the social problems and inequalities which are coming. They cannot explain the power imbalances. Who will explain the power imbalances? Other thinkers will explain the power imbalances. See, here you make the power imbalances, then you tell them that okay, there is Karl Marx who is explaining the power imbalances, there is feminists, there are other thinkers, then further you will see the interpretative school, all of that will happen, and micro macro divides will be analyzed. Functionalist tradition focuses only on the macro level analysis, but other thinkers will analyze the micro level. So all of this is also there. Now you are asked to analyze the salient features of historical materialism. See, there was a theory of Karl Marx, historical materialism, which said that there's a relationship and a superstructure and a base. See, I'll make it here. For example, let's do this purple color. This is our superstructure. ठीक है. सुपरस्ट्रक्चर में क्या है? सुपरस्ट्रक्चर में बहुत कुछ है, जैसे रिलीजन, फैमिली, फिलॉसफी, लॉ, मीडिया, एजुकेशन, सोशल स्ट्रक्चर, सब कुछ है ना. सुपरस्ट्रक्चर है ये अपना. आइडियोलॉजीज, पॉलिटिक्स, cinema, all of this is social superstructure. Then we have a base. Let the base be green colored. ठीक है, this is our base. Base में क्या है? Base में we have the means of production. You know the means of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, raw materials, labor, the relationship between labor and bourgeois or proletariat, aristocracy, capital, private property, all of that. Superstructure shapes what is happening at the base. What is happening at the base? Production is happening at the base. Relationships are there at the base. Relationships, production, all of that is happening at the base. So social structure is shaping the base. And what is base doing? Base is maintaining the social structure, superstructure. This shapes and this maintains. This is what historical materialism is. So now you get the idea that historical materialism is a conception of society. As society evolves from one stage to the next, it is historical. Why? Because it is related to evolution. Economic infrastructure is the base. And this is also a dialectical thought. See, process of, you can say, dialectic, firstly try to understand, is dual existence. कि एक मास्टर होगा और एक स्लेव होगा, एक बुर्गवा होगा और एक प्रोलेटेरिएट होगा. एक मास्टर होगा, एक स्लेव होगा, एक बुर्गवा होगा, एक प्रोलेटेरिएट होगा. इसकी स्पेलिंग ये होती है. एक सर्वेंट होगा और एक ओनर होगा. एक फार्मर होगा, नहीं फार्मर नहीं कह सकते, एक लैंड ओनर होगा और एक टेनेंट होगा जो कि लेबरर होगा. ये डायलेक्टिकल स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स. सो इट इज सस्टेन्ड बाय इट. सो बेसिकली इट इज ड्यूअल एग्जिस्टेंस. यस, it is sustained also by modes of production. अब modes of production was another theory of Karl Marx. उसमें उसने 5 modes of production बताए. पांच modes of production. सबसे पहले primitive communism, भाई एकदम प्रिमिटिव है सोसाइटी कि कम्युनिज्म एग्जिस्ट करता है, लोग जाते हैं एरो से शूट करते हैं शेर भालू चीते को और मार के खा लेते हैं सब आपस में बांट के, प्रिमिटिव कम्युनिज्म. फर्दर व्हाट हैपेंस, फर्दर द सोसाइटी मूव्स टुवर्ड्स अ फ्यूडल फॉर्म ऑफ सोसाइटी. अब एक पर्सन एक कंट्रोल करता है इस लैंड को, बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो शेर चीते भालू मारते हैं, इधर भी मारते हैं इधर भी मारते हैं. वो देखते हैं वो सोसाइटी और वो सोचती है कि इनके पास ज़्यादा रिसोर्सेज है, इन्हें मैं कैप्चर कर लूँ. सोसाइटी भरी हो गई. बहुत जगह ऐसा हो रहा है. मैनी प्लेस these things are happening. So at many places these things are happening. This fight is happening. So then there will be a feudal society. Then the society will progress. They will own land. They will do agriculture. अब यही वाला रिलेशन आ गया पेजेंट और मास्टर वाला. ठीक है, ये रिलेशन आ गया पेजेंट और मास्टर वाला. एग्रीकल्चर कर लिया इनने, एग्रीकल्चरल सोसाइटी हो गई. फिर अब इनने इंडस्ट्री लगा ली. पहले लैंड, फिर एग्रीकल्चर और फिर क्या, इंडस्ट्री. रिसोर्सेज ही तो है ये सब. अब ये रिलेशन क्या हो गया, प्रोलेटेरिएट और बुर्गुआ वाला रिलेशन हो गया. अब ये कैपिटलिज्म है. मार्क्स कहता है ये 4 स्टेज नहीं है, अभी 2 स्टेज और हैं. जो 2 स्टेज क्या है, फ्यूचरिस्टिक हैं. ये स्टेज क्या है, फ्यूचरिस्टिक स्टेज है यार. ये स्टेज क्या है, फ्यूचरिस्टिक स्टेज है. दिस इज अ फ्यूचरिस्टिक स्टेज. इस स्टेज में क्या होगा, इस स्टेज में देखो, इन दिस पर्टिकुलर स्टेज द कैपिटलिज्म विल गेट कन्वर्टेड इनटू सोशलिज्म. Socialist countries are not that successful, but still it will happen according to Karl Marx, and this will make the laborers independent. They will realize their rights, and it's good. Okay, laborers independent, laborers realize their rights, and what will further happen is again communism, and this form of communism will be a modern form of communism. Modern communism, the resources are being shared. अच्छे से the resources are being shared between haves and have-nots. There's no have and have-not. All divisions disappear. All kinds of, you can say, divides have disappeared. The society is so egalitarian as envisioned by Marx. ये मार्क्स का idealist thought था, just like angels. Alright, so this will happen. This is what he called the mode of production. And the social superstructure, what is happening here, the base was there, production was happening, it was sustaining and maintaining the superstructure. What will happen, everything will be shared, equality will prevail. In this you can also add about global stratification of World War II and the Wallerstein's theory. Emanuel Wallerstein, he divided the nations theory, all of that. Let us move forward. What is this? How are open and closed system of stratification undergoing transformation in the emergence of new hierarchical social order in societies? Open and closed systems of stratification undergoing transformations in the emergence of new hierarchical order in the society. I think I missed a set of questions while explaining this. Salient features of historical materialism. We'll discuss this only first, or what do we do? Let us do this set of questions first. Compare Karl Marx with Emile Durkheim with reference to division of labor. Compare Karl Marx with Emile Durkheim with reference to framework of division of labor. See, Karl Marx wrote what book, Das Kapital. And Emile Durkheim worked on the division of labor in society, and he analyzed the importance of it. उसने बकायदा बताया कि this is very important for the society. Alright, division of labor in industrial society is very important to be able to maintain a peaceful coexistence according to Emile Durkheim. Let us do Karl Marx red colored. He says what? Division of labor is not important. It is not a means of cooperation and coexistence, rather a means of capitalists, you can say, exploiting the workers for profits. How bad? Capitalists exploiting the workers for profits. This is division of labor. Emile Durkheim says no, they are existing together. Capitalist is paying the workers. Workers are living a happy life because of capitalists. Capitalists are living a happy life because of the trust of the workers. So these are two dialectical views. Marx viewed division of labor as unequal relations, status quo. समझ में आ रहा है? क्वेश्चन करता है वो स्टेटस को दरखाइम क्या कहता है? इट इज यूजफुल, कॉपरेशन इज नेसेसरी, इंटीग्रेशन इज नेसेसरी. मार्क्स कहता है कि एलियनेशन हो रहा है लेबर का इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी में. दरखाइम कहता है एलियनेशन हो रहा है तो एंटरटेनमेंट के और नए तरीके खोज लो. यू गो टू द फैक्ट्री, यू वर्क, यू कम बैक एट होम, यू एंजॉय योर लाइफ, you hug your wife and you enjoy your life. Marx says no, this is wrong. Everyone should own means of production. I'm sorry, this has to be read. Everyone should own the means of production. Everyone should equally have a share. Emile Durkheim says that is not really possible. It will lead to anarchy. It will disturb the social order. Society is organically connected. Let it be organically connected. What is happening has been evolved as a very you can say historical phenomena. This division of labor was always there. There were some people who were intelligent, there were some people not so intelligent. They used to divide work. One used to be in the forefront, one used to be in the background. All of them used to work and all of this used to happen, so do not question about it. So these are the frameworks you have to do when you compare amongst them. This is a very good optional. You talk about economics optional. In economics optional you don't find such beautiful questions. In economics optional you find very theoretical questions. In other optionals like history optional, you find very theoretical question. Okay, it can be related to the GS. History optional questions, but you see, you have to write a lot, which you don't think, but you learn. Here you write a lot, which you can think. So you can apply a lot many frameworks here. That is why this optional is a very exploratory subject. Everyone should read sociology optional. It shall indeed be made compulsory for everyone to study this optional subject. Because this is the knowledge of society. And if you do not love and do not read about the knowledge of society, if everyone I know, I'm very sure every UPSC aspirants love sociology and the knowledge of society. It's just that they take other optionals so that they kind of try to master and kind of try to learn more about other subjects, which is also very good. Taking any optional in UPSC is good. All optionals are equally rewarding. You take economics, it is a very good optional. You take history, it is a very good optional. You take sociology, it is a very good optional. All optionals in UPSC are equal. Even if you take mathematics, in spite of being a humanities graduate and you are able to understand the scheme of things, it is equal. It is okay and it is good. You're trying to learn something better. You're trying to learn something which you haven't learned so far. In humanities, you learn good things. In mathematics, you also learn good things. So when you learn good things and good things, it becomes good. But when you learn same things and same things, it becomes boring. So try to explore this subject. Everyone should watch these videos and try to explore the subject of sociology. I initially made certain PYQ videos of economics optional also. I used to find them very interesting. All the PYQs of economics optional. I've solved all the PYQs. I've solved all the PYQs of economics optional and they are really good. They're framed in such an intellectual manner I cannot explain to you. They are very good to solve. Very interesting to solve. Economics optional, you see, is a very good optional. Sociology is also a very good optional. You see, philosophy optional, again a very good optional. You see the PYQs. I will solve the philosophy optional PYQs also. All of them. They try to emphasize on deep philosophical thought and its understanding, especially the Indian philosophical thought. When you solve the PYQs, you will get to know the core or the heart of the subject. Very important. Critically analyze the contribution of G.H. Mead to symbolic interactionism. See, G.H. Mead, as we know, was a thinker related to psychology. And herein it is asked to critically analyze his contribution to symbolic interactionism. interactionism. What is symbolic interactionism? It is a sociological perspective that focuses on how individuals interact with one another. G.H. Mead, जॉर्ज हर्बर्ट मीड की थ्योरी क्या है? सेल्फ एंड आइडेंटिटी. क्या थ्योरी है? सेल्फ एंड आइडेंटिटी. has made significant contributions to the thought process of symbolic interactionism. Gestures have a role. You know भीमबेटका के symbols have a role. क्या करते थे वो? मूविंग पेंटिंग्स बनाते थे. ऐसी पेंटिंग्स बनाते थे जिनमें मूवमेंट होता था. क्या दिखाया उनने? सिंबल दिखाया. इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन, पशुपति सील, व्हाट डज इट शो? इट शोज अ सिंबल. ऑलराइट, व्हाट डज these other, leave it. See, gestures, language and symbols are very much emphasized in this process of symbolic interactionism. How social interactions construct the social reality. Interaction is individual. Micro sociology, social reality is macro sociology. All the micro individual elements influence indeed the macro framework of sociology. Mead also says that self is not something which is inborn. There are stages of creation of self. First one is play stage. Second one is game stage. Children play, then they do self-development, then they are generalized. All of this happens. Consciousness of self happens. There is cooperative action in the society. So all of this Mead is saying. He distinguishes between me and I. Two facets of the self. Me is defined by Mead as organized set of attitudes of other which one himself assumes. I is the immediate response of an individual to others. What is me? जो मैं मेरे बारे में सोचता हूँ is me. I is something which seeks, is something which is more realized, is something which is more connected to the society. That is I. So he distinguishes between I and me and between you and I. This is symbolic interactionism. Now it had a lot of criticisms, है ना? It lacked clarity. Number one, लोगों को समझ ही नहीं आया कि मीड भाई साहब क्या बोल रहे हैं. क्लैरिटी कहाँ है इस थॉट में? आप बताओ. Do you see any clarity in this? These are just different elements lying together, lying apart from each other. How do you connect it to society? ये तो सबको पता है. जनरलिस्टिक है ये ऑब्जर्वेशनल है, अप्लाइड नहीं है. ऑलराइट, आर्टिकुलेट नहीं करा मीड ने कि कैसे इंडिविजुअल इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं सोसाइटी के साथ. आर्टिकुलेशन तो करना चाहिए था ना मीड को अच्छे से मतलब समझना चाहिए था चीज़ को, कल्चर को समझना चाहिए था. और जो लोग हैं ना आज, द वे आई बिहेव is very different from the way you behave, is very different from the way other people behave. How is it? How can you correlate this to a general phenomena which might happen for everybody in the same manner? This is very different. This is very subjective. This is very idealistic also. Social structure ऐसे नहीं बनता है जैसे मीड कह रहे हैं. मीड ने बहुत कुछ डिस्कस करना छोड़ दिया. पावर डायनामिक्स और अपने क्लास, सोशल मोबिलिटी, क्यों लोग माइग्रेट कर रहे हैं, कैसे कुछ लोग पावर गेन कर रहे हैं, कुछ लोग पावर लूज कर रहे हैं, कुछ लोग सोशल मोबिलिटी हो रही है, क्लास स्ट्रक्चर हो रहा है, चॉइस क्या है, लोगों का कल्चर क्या है, सब कुछ मीड ने एनालाइज नहीं करा, सब कुछ आर्टिकुलेट नहीं करा. एग्जामिन सेलिएंट फीचर्स ऑफ वेबेरियन ब्यूरोक्रेसी. मैक्स वेबर ने ब्यूरोक्रेसी के लिए बहुत कुछ कहा, ब्यूरोक्रेसी के बारे में बहुत कुछ कहा. सो पॉलिटिकल साइंस एंड सोशियोलॉजी को रिलेट कर सकते हैं अपन यहाँ से. किससे? मैक्स वेबर से. लाइक मेनी अदर वेबेरियन आइडियाज, ब्यूरोक्रेसी इज लिंक्ड टू आइडियल टाइप आइडिया. अच्छा, लेट अस टॉक अबाउट ब्यूरोक्रेसी फर्स्टली. ठीक है, ब्यूरोक्रेसी क्या होती है? मैक्स वेबर की बात नहीं करेंगे. वी विल टॉक अबाउट द मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग, ब्यूरोक्रेसी. Bureaucracy is, I'll tell you firstly what bureaucracy is for me. Bureaucracy is a sense of service. Bureaucracy is a sense of commitment. Bureaucracy is upholding the values of the nation and the society. above your own values, above your own mindset. So here nation and society is there. Here who you are is there. Whosoever you are. Always the nation and society has to be above. Always the nation and society has to be valued by you. Always it has to be upholded and kept at the forefront. That is what the service of bureaucracy is there. I am very unfortunate that people who are entering bureaucracy are not doing that, and people who want to do that are unable to enter bureaucracy, are unable to make the good changes for the society, are unable to uphold the commitment of the nationalistic values. This is what is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is a hierarchical system. Unfortunately, it was always a hierarchical system. Bureaucracy is a symbol of a organized structure. ब्यूरोक्रेसी में क्या है, एक स्ट्रक्चर है. चीज़ें एक स्ट्रक्चर से होती हैं, चीज़ें एक ऑर्गेनाइज्ड फ्रेमवर्क से होती हैं. ब्यूरोक्रेसी में ब्यूरोक्रेसी में वन थिंग, यूपीएससी completed 100 years. What did UPSC say? It is a guardian of merit. What is UPSC? A guardian of merit. I initially told you I'll be using internet for this, but I'm hardly using any internet. I'm just saying what I know and what I feel about the subject. And I think this is better in this way. I wish I could have created a Google Meet. You would have seen me, because I'm looking very good today. You would have seen me and we would have solved these PYQs. And I know I'm taking a lot of time. We've just done a couple of questions and around 1 hour has passed. But मैं रात को जाके कर रही हूँ and I have no problem. I have no problem if I spend the entire night on this subject and on any subject of UPSC for that matter. Because I get a lot of pride. I get a lot of, you can say, satisfaction from within when I study about these subjects. I think this is like my purpose, my calling in life, to study these subjects in detail, to analyze these subjects, because they are so good. They're so rich in value, rich in emotions, rich in intellectual thought. I like reading them. Like one of the very good essay was asked by UPSC this time. Contentment is natural wealth, but luxury is artificial poverty. Contentment is what? Natural wealth. Luxury, artificial poverty. Such a good essay. You know, I can write around 300 pages on this essay. 300 pages. Mind you, I am a writer. I've written a book. You can search my name on the Google. 300 pages aram se I can write on this. A very beautiful topic. So, UPSC guardian of merit. UPSC is one who selects the bureaucracy of the country. So what is bureaucracy? Bureaucracy is meritocracy. Bureaucracy is organized structure. Bureaucracy is service. If you think about my definition, bureaucracy is service. Bureaucracy is keeping your nation above yourself. Bureaucracy is administration. Bureaucracy is rationalism. Bureaucracy is objectivity also. Bureaucracy is you can say a full-fledged structure, which now you remember Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. I'm just trying to analyze my own knowledge and everything. When I talk, when I teach, initially I was thinking कि मैं बहुत दिनों से I have not spoken anything, so I'll make this video. And now when I'm talking, I can talk about a lot of examples. I can talk about Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. He called bureaucracy as the steel frame of India. Alright, you can write this. Yes. So bureaucracy is a rational method. The most rational method of exercising power and making good contributions for the society is bureaucracy. Now let us see what Weber talked about bureaucracy. Weber was a thinker who associated it with the growing rationalization in society. Society is becoming what? More rational. Society is becoming more idealistic. Ideal types. किसकी थ्योरी है? वेबर की थ्योरी है. रैशनैलिटी इसकी रैशनैलिटी नहीं, प्रोटेस्टेंट एथिक किसकी थ्योरी है? वेबर की थ्योरी है. ऑलराइट, सो most rational, Weber says that most rational method of exercising power over the people and for making the best of the society is bureaucracy. He said exercising power, I am saying making the best contributions for the society. है ना? He said exercising power. I am saying that it is the best way to make contributions for the society. This is what bureaucracy is. See, bureaucracy. Max Weber, of course, believes in the structure. He has his own interpretative thoughts, but he contends that technical superiority is there, individual creativity is also there. So yeah, sorry, is there, so bureaucracy is sustained as a very rational institution. Alright, I think this is enough for the question. You can write a lot, see, है ना. Bureaucracy can be something for you, it is a sense of service. For me, it can be something else for you. It can be a sense of commitment, it can be a sense of, you can say, livelihood for you. It is not a sense of livelihood for me, it is a sense of service, it is a sense of dedication, it is a sense of commitment, it is a sense of greater responsibility for a greater moral good, individual realization of my own capabilities. Alright, you can analyze it and write about Weber's thought from your own perspectives. Now we come to this question. How are open and closed systems of stratification undergoing transformation in the emergence of new hierarchical social order in societies? सबसे पहले इसको ब्रेक डाउन करो क्वेश्चन को. सोशल स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन क्या होता है? स्ट्रक्चरल हायरार्किकल स्ट्रैटा होता है. इनइक्वालिटीज, मैं बार बार ये लाइनें बना देती हूँ. स्ट्रैटा है, इनइक्वालिटीज है, तभी तो सोशल स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन है. इट इज़ अ प्रोसेस ऑफ डिफरेंशिएशन, यस, विच एलिवेट्स पीपल फ्रॉम वन सेक्ट टू अनदर. एलिवेशन हो रहा है लोगों का. अब याद करो, एलिवेशन कब हो रहा था? जब संस्कृताइजेशन हो रहा था. संस्कृताइजेशन कब हो रहा था? जब ब्राह्मणिकल सोसाइटी थी. दिस इज हाउ थिंग्स वर हैपनिंग. ओपन सिस्टम इन विच सोशल मोबिलिटी इज एनकरेज बाय सोशल नॉर्म्स. मोबिलिटी हो रही है ना. ओपन सिस्टम क्या है? जब लोग इंडिविजुअल टैलेंट, स्किल और एफर्ट से बेहतर बन सकते हैं. ये एस्क्राइब स्टेटस नहीं है, ये अचीव्ड स्टेटस है. क्लोज सिस्टम में क्या वैल्यू है? एस्क्राइब स्टेटस की वैल्यू है. एस्क्राइब्ड है, जो भी है लिखा हुआ है. क्लोज सिस्टम है जी, कैसे ऊपर बढ़ोगे? क्लोज्ड है, लाइक अ प्रिजन. ओपन सिस्टम यू कैन डू सोशल मोबिलिटी. Closed system you cannot do social mobility. Open system there is achieved status. Closed system there is ascribed status. Alright, M.N. श्रीनिवास की बात करेंगे इधर. रेस्ट्रिक्टेड सोसाइटी है क्लोज सिस्टम की सोसाइटी. अपनी सोसाइटी क्या है? ओपन सिस्टम की सोसाइटी. मेरिटोक्रेसी, wherein if you put your sustained effort, in spite of the fact that you are underprivileged, your general category, you are middle class, you are a person very weak, you are a person very emotionally unstable like me, still it is an open system. You can always choose what is best for you. A closed system in which is somewhere where social structure discourages you from moving ahead, like Shudras, Panchamas during the medieval times, during the Brahminical society or age, could not read the, you can say, Vedas, है ना, could not read the rich historical texts. अब इसमें बहुत सारे थिंकर्स हैं, जैसे योगेंद्र सिंह आई रिमेंबर इज़ वन थिंकर, M.N. श्रीनिवास आई रिमेंबर इज़ वन थिंकर. मैं उनके बारे में तो आई कैन टेल यू, बट देयर मस्ट बी मोर थिंकर्स जो मेरे को ना अभी याद है और ना आई कैन टेल यू प्रॉपरली अबाउट दिस. बट इट इज़ आस्किंग अबाउट, सी, undergoing transformation and the emergence of new hierarchical social order. यार ये वीडियो, I should have recorded my video. I'm looking good today. I should have made this like a video only. Anyways, it's not about looking good, but also what I'm saying is I'm saying according to my own knowledge. I'm not referring to so many sources. So if I would have recorded in a video format and we would have had the eye contact, you would have loved this explanation. See, so society is what? When it is a transitioning system. It transitions from traditional to modern. So when it has to transition, there has to be some amount of fluidity. That is why social changes will take place. That is why open systems are important. That is how you will analyze the emergence of new hierarchical social order. Alright? What is happening these days? Live-in relationships are increasing. Open system. What is happening these days? These days entrepreneurs are coming from different kinds of social backgrounds. Open system. And also remember, no society is completely open and no society is completely closed. Every society is open and closed in its own framework and its own values. You can take example of many societies and make this a very good answer. Is patriarchy a universal phenomena? See how beautiful question. पेट्रियार्की यूनिवर्सल फिनोमेना है क्या? नहीं है. नॉर्थ ईस्ट में जाओगे क्या दिखेगा? मेट्रियार्की दिखेगी. आई वेंट टू लिव इन सिक्किम फॉर मैनी डेज. not a patriarchal society. I went to Goa, not a patriarchal society. Critically examine how does patriarchy affect sexual division of labor in societies, how does women cook and how does man hunt, how does man go to work, how does women sit in the household to welcome him. कैसे पेट्रियार्की इसको अफेक्ट करती है, क्या सही में अफेक्ट करती है या नहीं करती है. You imagine a typical household headed by a male family member. The women are not allowed to step out of the house. In fact, they even wear parda. Now you remember Tarabai Shinde. Now you remember other contributors who questioned patriarchy. एक बहुत अच्छी rhyme थी I think, wherein there was a world of women and no man was allowed to come out of the house. Such a beautiful story, such a beautiful poem you can make use of. और you can think also. सोचना भी तो important है, सिर्फ लिखना ही थोड़ी है, सोचना ज़रूरी है. If you can think well, you can always do well in life. So think about it. How patriarchy is so important. Patriarchy means what? Rule of father, a male-dominated society. It is an ideological and a social construct. What is it? It is an ideological and a social construct. It is not a very, you can say, structural construct. Ideology है और social construct है, तभी तो. My name is Anjali Bhatia. I value my name. I have written books. My books have my name. Everywhere I go, my name is valued. Everyone knows me as Anjali Bhatia. Some people even know me as Bhatia ji. Some people even call me Bhatia. I go to the sports fraternity, they know that there's a person called Anjali Bhatia who used to play cricket, who used to run marathons, who used to organize events. There's a person, I go to the, you can say, I go to Ajmer, I go to the Mayo College, people know me as Anjali Bhatia. I go to Mumbai, people know me as Anjali Bhatia. Whatever I do, people know my name. But tomorrow, if I am going to marry, my surname will go. Then Anjali is a very common name. Every third person I see carries this name, Anjali. Every movie you see one of the characters who is usually, I don't know why, who is usually scared of things is Anjali. So this is a social construct. My name will be changed because of patriarchy. I don't want to change my name, but still I'll change it. If I love another person and another person loves me more than me, more than you can say. So what is happening, essentially you analyze. Leave behind my name or your name or whatever is happening. Alright, name doesn't matter, but what is happening with the people matters. Patriarchy is suppressing women's thoughts. So patriarchy is negative, but patriarchy is also positive. Why ji? Because patriarchy is sustaining society. If patriarchy would not there are chances society will collapse. What happens in Khasi matrimony? The men gets confused whether the sister's household was good or the wife's household is good. Now men is struck. So men cannot contribute to economic activity here. Women cannot contribute to economic activity. But contribution has to happen from both the sides. You cannot stop her. You should not stop him. You would not stop her. You will not stop him. Both of them. You cannot stop. उल्टा भी ले लो, मैं डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी नहीं हूँ, मेरे को बहुत अच्छे से दोनों के रोल्स पता है और मेरे को पता है दोनों को इक्वली कंट्रीब्यूट करना होगा सोसाइटी में और करना चाहिए. ऑलराइट, patriarchy is something which stops one sect of population from contributing to society. So what is the need of the hour? An egalitarian system. You cannot write about this in your sociology paper that an egalitarian system is needed, but it is needed. It is the need of the hour, wherein patriarchy supports women's contributions. It can sustain the society. But what happened after Kargil war? The women were not given compensation. Patriarchy is constructed on the notion that land is owned by a male family member. But it should be equally owned. See, when love is there is no patriarchy, matriarchy. Alright, when love is there is no construct. When love is there is only freedom. There's only, you can say, growth. There's only, people say that they fall in love. But according to me, people rise in love. Love leads to growth. Love leads to understanding. So, family and patriarchy, according to my personal view, are very different notions. Family can sustain without patriarchy. Patriarchy cannot sustain without family. पेट्रियार्की इज अ लिमिटेड कंसेप्ट. आप जहाँ पे भी ये जो कंसेप्ट है ना, जो खुद को बहुत ज़्यादा रिस्ट्रिक्टेड, जो सोसाइटी को रिस्ट्रिक्ट करते हैं, जो खुद को बहुत ज़्यादा रिस्ट्रिक्टेड थॉट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखते हैं, वो कंसेप्ट्स हमेशा क्वेश्चन हो सकते हैं, इलेजिटिमेट प्रूफ हो सकते हैं. जो ब्रॉडर कंसेप्ट है, अगर वो उन्हें इलेजिटिमेट प्रूफ करना चाहे. ऑल राइट. So this is how things are there. But gender-based division of labor is there. That is right. Receptionists are females, usually. Construction laborers are males, usually. Mother housewife is still important. Why important? Because not everyone can accept patriarchy. You go to a village. In village, there's a notion that females must cook. You go to cities. In cities, you will not find that notion. Females must cook. If a female likes to cook, she should cook. If a female doesn't like to cook, she should not cook. This is what is a mature society. But the society is not just immature. The society is also governed by old values, old traditions and old norms, which are a distinguishing characteristic of patriarchy. Alright, you can mention many feminist thinkers, many other philosophers in this discussion of patriarchy. And now things are evolving. The gender-based distribution of labor is evolving. There was an article, Women, Work and Class Structure. You can mention that article. You can mention the problems of gender pay gap, pink-collar jobs. All of that you can mention here. Patriarchy honi chahiye, nahi honi chahiye, I don't know. What should always be there is love. What should always be there is equal respect for the participation and for the ability of each and every family member, irrespective of the women, irrespective of being a man or a woman. That is as simple as that. That is how kids are raised in school. You know, I'll share this with you. There was a survey wherein there were kids of some small standard, you can say second standard. They were asked to run a race. Okay, track. Now there's you can say a male kid, there's a female kid. They're asked to run. You know what happened? Both of them ran in a very competitive way and both of them finished the race nearly at the same time. The race was finished by both of them nearly at the same time. वो दोनों जीते, उन दोनों ने अच्छे से भाग दौड़ की, पर वही रेस उनसे फिर कराई गई. When they entered the 9th standard, you know, even children, they believed in the social construct. They believed that women run slow, women run in a modest fashion, women cannot run like Milkha Singh, women cannot run like you can say a good level athlete. And what happened? Women ran very slow. They ran crossing their legs, so they couldn't move fast. Men ran in a faster manner, and this is not biological. This is psychological. If this is happening in that case study of children of 2nd and 9th standard, you imagine the women who from 9th standard onwards, 9th standard is very young, 16-15 years old is 9th standard. You imagine a woman who enters 30 years of age. Society ने इतना influence कुछ 7 सालों में ही कर दिया, तो अगले 15-20 सालों में क्या influence करेगी society? Women will say कि मैं तो भागूंगी ही नहीं, तुम ही भाग लो, यही मेरे लिए काफ़ी है. This is not negative for, you can say, this is not negative for the household, this is negative for the entire society, this is negative for women, this is negative for men also. Men will not be able to realize their own potential if women do not compete with them. So what is important? It is important that equality is ensured. It is important that such things do not take place. It is important that this mindset is cured, that women are slow and women can't do. This is something different which I am trying to explain to you apart from the subject. Alright, let's see this. role of pressure groups in parliamentary democracy. What is a pressure group? Can you give, like, of course this is not a live class. I was asking, can you give examples? What is a pressure group? Mahila Samaj is a pressure group. Kisan Union is a pressure group. क्या हुआ था? Water canyons. See, the government is right. The farmers are also right. What is needed is an approach wherein both the problems, both the points of view, the Ladakh people are right, the government is also very right. What is needed is a collaborative approach to solve such problems. Of course, when there is a particular decision, there are some people who get disadvantaged, there are some institutions which get disadvantaged, but that doesn't mean you stop the growth. That doesn't mean growth won't happen. That doesn't mean your rights your rights would be taken. Your rights should be respected as much as growth. So modernity shall respected as much as individual liberty. Pressure groups emphasize this only. Media is a pressure group. Democracy को respect करो along with development. D+D दोनों साथ साथ चलने चाहिए. सिर्फ डेवलपमेंट नहीं, सिर्फ डेमोक्रेसी नहीं, दोनों. दिस इज द रोल ऑफ प्रेशर ग्रुप्स. सो प्रेशर ग्रुप्स आर outside the formal decision making process. They are not accountable for any actions. Pressure groups are a form of like civil society sort of thing. Alright, they promote the voices of the impoverished. They promote the voices of the marginalized. नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन, प्रेशर ग्रुप किसने करा था? राइट इट.